Hi, Fraser Christian from Coastal Survival. This video is going to focus on the standard 3x3 metre bushcraft tarp or waterproof tarpaulin sheet. Doesn't have to be specifically bought as a bushcraft tarp, although they are great. Various different companies make them and they range in prices. So like any kit, what you don't want to do is get it out of the bag for the first time when you're in situation. You want to get it out at home and check it all out. And a lot of these tarps come with guy lines, and I wanted to show you how to take off the guy lines if there's already attached, and what guy line I'd recommend, what type of cord I'm going to recommend, and how to tie knots, how to be able to remove the guy lines without tying knots. We tie all the knots at home, and then when we're out in the field or in the woods or on the beach, wherever we are in the mountains, we can easily disconnect our guy lines from our tarp, use them for other uses. The cord we're going to look at is what they call paracord. It's got 10 multiple strands called inside of a main sheath carrier. We can strip that down to make various kit fishing nets, fishing line, which we can look at in other videos. So 2 is 1, 1 is none. If one item of kit can do multiple uses, then it's worth its weight in gold in the survival kit, and we try to break everything down into multiple uses, break everything down, every situation into multiple situations, so we're not having to deal with everything in one go. And we're going to focus on other videos looking at the mindsets and the psychology that links everything together. So first of all, let's have a look at the tarp, let's have a look at the guy lines, and let's have a look at the knots that we can use to be able to, as I say, put our tarp up without having to tie any knots, but also to adjust our tarp from inside of our tarp, which is especially great if it's raining. Okay, so let's have a look at the tarp. Mittens on. As I say, when you're out in the woods or in situation, you might, have injured hands, not be able to tie knots. So you tie everything, what we used to say as chefs is mise en place, everything in place before, everything you possibly can do before you have to do it is done. Okay, so bag that comes in, probably a lot of you have seen this before. This is the guy line bag and the peg bag. Okay, so we'll start off with the guy lines, and this is one that I've already taken off. These were attached. Okay, this one had to be cut on a survival challenge where it was tied down, physically tied to a tree, and in a storm we had to move and they had to leave their tarp. So this is loads of reasons why we'd want to be able to easily take our tarp down without tying any knots. So first of all, you can see in there, this is paracord, parachute cord it's come from, its name. And in there I've counted there's 10 strands. Okay, so really strong, and on the outside is carrier, and that they will pull out if you need to. Okay, so again, rather than just a single strand of cord like a lot of the tarps come with, I change it to paracord. Okay, so first knot we're going to concentrate on, and you can singe that off if you don't want it fraying, but then we won't be able to get them off with cold hands, so you can leave that like that. It's not going to cause any problem because it's going to be other knot inside of it, and I say if you've already burnt it, then you definitely have to cut it off and maybe pull it apart to get the strands out, whereas those can easily come out in a survival situation. Right, first knot, okay, is the bowline. Okay, the bowline. So what I'm going to do is make a loop over itself. Okay, take the strand, I'm going to wrap that just around my little finger now, just so it doesn't get caught out, and then wrap that end round up through, it goes up through the hole, okay, round the back of that cord and down through the hole. Really simple. Okay, and I'll do a separate video just on that, a real quick video on that. Okay, now what this knot is really good for is A, it won't collapse, so it's a good safety knot. I learnt this, so especially on a boat, you can throw this as a safety line, that won't collapse and constrict you. Okay, but the other good thing about this knot is even when it's been under tension, it will easily, you hold both the strands and push apart. Okay, so it will come apart if needed, but again, we shouldn't have to take this apart. So tie the bowline, and there you go, and that's the first end of one of our guy lines. Okay, now the second end, if we look, comes with one of these standard plastic, not always plastic, sometimes metal, ways of being able to go round your peg and adjust it, okay? A, because I'm completely dyslexic, I can never remember which way round it is, and B, if that's round, just round a peg like that, okay, they can slip off, okay, people could say you could lark's foot that, I suppose, okay, and there's a lark's foot. They say you could do that with it, but we can't adjust that then without and getting out and taking this off and moving that, okay? So I would say you could leave that on if you really, really, really wanted to, okay, but get it right out of the way. Right out of the way. And then with the other end, as I've got the bail on, this has just been finished off with a little knot, which with good fingers we should be able to take apart. And even with cold hands this morning, still a little bit difficult just to get that one single knot undone. You can imagine when you've got cold, wet and tired hands how difficult that is, doing anything. Right, okay, so hopefully you can see this. Right, so what we're going to do, okay, we don't need to get the tarp out for this, we use the tarp bag. So on your tarps you're going to have quite often an eyelet, okay, or a tab, okay, it doesn't matter what you've got, okay. So that big loop that we started with the bowline, just push that through, okay, close that bowline a little bit, push that through, okay, and get the other tail and just push it all the way through. There's that little adjuster, okay, and then what that does, I suppose you could call that a lark's foot. What that does, it closes on itself, get the loop over the right side of the knot, and rather than just have a single strand, putting just a single point of force onto your tarp or eyelet, you actually get quite a good springy buffer with that lark's foot to attach to your tarp, okay? So then the other end, now, you can go round your peg, and all you're going to do is wrap it round twice, okay? So A, that stops it slipping out, okay? We'll just put the peg over there in the ground. And there you go. It still can slip when it's not under tension. And then your other end goes through that great big loop you've put there nice and easily, okay? And what you can do now, you've made yourself a pulley, okay? So you can easily, and you think this is our tarp just over there, so we're inside of there, okay? We can pull that, okay? Slip it down and adjust that tarp from right back up here in the tarp, okay? And then to finish it off, all we're going to do is a slip knot. Just take it over itself, then take the middle of the line, leaving the tail out, okay? And again, all of these knots I'll cover in detail. The slip knot has to go, that's too close to the first knot we've used. And I said you can leave that adjuster in place. I'd probably take it out because it's in my way. Okay, right, slip knot again. There. Now that, as you can see, is under tension, okay? What you can do, if you're paranoid, you can lock that off again and put that through that like that. And do that double if you want, okay? Now what that is, that's under tension, but if you need to move really quickly, you can pull that, okay? And that's come undone. And then easily, everything slips off. And that is the easiest way I've ever put up a tarp and kept it adjustable, because the weather changes. 1 minute, I will do another video on how to put the tarp up. There's loads of different ways. I'll just do a real simple way, because there's a few things I want to talk about, the guy line, how to collect water off of the guy lines, etc. But that allows you to not have to tie any knots in situation besides the slip knot, which you can tie with mittens on. You can disattach your guy lines at any point to use them for other purposes like collecting wood for etc. And you can adjust your tarp from inside of your tarp rather than having to keep getting out in the rain, which works, like I say, if it's night time, you're in your bed, suddenly the rain's coming from this way, and you've got your tarp closed down to the ground that way, okay, but then in the night, the wind goes from the opposite way and comes that way. Don't really, you know, if you can not have to get out your sleeping bag and being able to adjust your tarp from inside, that's absolutely perfect. Anyway, that's just a real quick short video on a few of the knots that we need and how to use your guidelines.